The views expressed by the host of this podcast are not opinion-based or for entertainment purposes. They are actually facts and truth, no matter if other people like it or not. It is the Detroit sports truth, and nothing can ever stop it from being correct. Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics, and welcome to episode 181 of the Detroit Sports Truth on Spreaker. I'm Taylor Phillips. I'm with my top co-host on the podcast, Ed Smith. Merry Christmas, Ed. Thanks so much for being on here. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Taylor. Just got off work, about to join off day, finally go see the new Star Wars flick tomorrow. A very, very wonderful Merry Christmas to you also. We're not there yet, but we're getting close to it. Let's get down to business, shall we?
Well, before we do, I want to announce that I have officially graduated from Central Michigan University. I got an 85 out of 100 on my final exam and an 82.75% overall grade in BCA 510 Electronic Media Law. So that completes my broadcast and cinematic arts major at CMU. My sport management minor was already complete about a couple years ago. So I've completely graduated, man.
Terrific. That's outstanding to hear.
Yep. All right.
Very proud of you. Very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now let's get down to business. The Lions.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Win 35-27 in New Orleans, the Super Bowl. They hang on to beat the Saints. They jump out to a 21-3 lead at halftime, and they lead 28-3 early in the third, but the Saints catch right back up. But the Lions just barely hold on without scoring any more points since their 28-3 lead. And there was no Hail Mary attempt because the Saints were deep in their own territory. The Lions actually buried them in terms of field position with a long Joik Bell run to the 8-yard line. And did Matt Prater... I was wondering if Matt Prater intentionally missing that field goal, or did he just flat out mail it?
I think that was just a complete. He just pushed it. That's all that was. Try to hook it, and he just pushed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's simple. You can't try to push it because chances are getting bigger. The chances get bigger when you try to that you mail it when you try to do too much.
Are you out of your mind?
And the Saints only had two plays. First play was an incomplete pass. Second pass, the Saints tried a lateral, but nobody was behind whoever had the ball last, and he was just gang tackled as time expired. Wow! And I'm saying nobody wanted that contest. Both teams are now 5-9.
Yeah, it was a very comical of errors, like endings, final couple of sequences that end that game. You know, it was like the Lions were in ways looking themselves in the mirror for once in an instance. But as you mentioned, both teams are now 5-9. As for the Lions, it does hurt their chances even more so now in terms of at least getting a top 5 draft pick. Now they can hope for. All they can hope for at this point, they can't win too much. Otherwise, you'd be falling out of the top 10, maybe in the top 15. You'll be stuck in that limbo phase. But we'll get to that more in a little bit. But I want to talk about more of what went on in the game tonight. Specifically, we got to talk about it. Matthew Stafford was on point. I believe he was 22 of 23 passing. Only had one incompletion throughout the entire game. 22 of 25 with 254 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions for Stafford on the night. I believe he set a team record of completion percentage with 88%. Clearly the star of the game by leaps and bounds. Calvin Johnson only had one catch for 19 yards, but that didn't necessarily seem to matter because everybody else was getting their lion's share, pun intended. Whether it be Eric Ebron making some catches, Golden Tate getting his touchdowns as a result. And, Stafford using the running backs, whether it be Joy Bell or Theo Riddick, and of course Amir Abdullah once or twice. The wealth, and to use a term here, the wealth was shared and it was spread around, and the Lions offense benefited greatly. As you can see, they generated 35 points. Now, granted, this isn't a stout defense you're going against. I mean, the Saints in recent years have not even had that good of a defense, but still, to outscore a team that thrives on winning games in shootout fashion, especially on their home turf. Quite impressive, I would say. As for the defense, for the first, what you would say, three and a half, I'd say about three, definitely the first half at least, and through about most of the third quarter, they were very stout. They stifled and completely shut down any attempt anyone was trying to get on a running, to establish a running game, and when it came down to it, they refused to let Drew Brees beat them. Now, granted, I do think Brees was hampered a bit because he had suffered an apparent foot injury, whether it be early in the game, first or second quarter, that required some attention on the sideline. Now, Brees did stay in the game, but if you can tell just by looking at the footage, how he moved around, it affected his play to a degree, I would say. Not completely, but it still affected it to a point where he wasn't his usual five-star caliber self. That being said, New Orleans, they did not quit. They refused to get blown out in front of their home crowd on a nationwide audience. So they stayed in it. The Lions, I felt, got a little bit complacent, like stakes on defense, and it showed. New Orleans kept scoring and scoring and scoring, and then all of a sudden, there you go. It's a 28-20 game. But I will say this, the Lions did a great job countering that drive with a drive of their own, where they, for once, established a running game using a combination of Joy Bell and Amir Abdullah. Including one key play where I believe it was a 3rd and 1 near midfield. Momentum, it seemed like, was on New Orleans' side. And then all of a sudden, a quick toss pass to Abdullah. He jets down the field for about 10, 20, 15, 10 or 15, maybe 20 yards down the field into New Orleans territory. And, of course, it would eventually lead to a Joy Bell touchdown run from about 1 yard out. Effectively sealing the game, even though the Lions still had to go through the business of A, getting the onside kick, and B, with the missed field goal by Prater with a few seconds left. But in all intents and purposes, that drive was the nail in the proverbial coffin. And for once, you saw what this team, at their very best, what they are capable of doing. Because, and let's not forget, this has not been a friendly place to the Lions the past couple of times they've visited the New Orleans Saints at the Superdome. Both times were nationwide games. One of those was a playoff game. In both of those instances, the defense got absolutely shredded, gave up 40-plus points in both occasions. This time, they only held the Saints to 27, and some of that, I don't know, you could say that were a bit of gift points because the defense, I felt, in my view, got a little bit, like I said, too complacent with their lead, took their foot off the pedal just a little bit, and allowed the Saints to get a second win and almost get back right into the game. But the defense, they bit down, they did what they needed to do, and they prevented, at least made sure, or put in the spot where it wouldn't be a repeat of the Green Bay game. So, good performance all around from a team effort. Disappointing if you're a person that, like I mentioned before, you were hoping they would probably lose from here on out to establish their order in the draft, better for next year. But if you want to see progress to a degree, see what this team can be capable of, tonight was a good example.
Yep, it was. With all that said, moving forward, the Lions return home and return to the Sunday afternoon games at 1 o'clock, especially at home. And they play the San Francisco 49ers. That is their last home game of the season in the 2015 season. And then they ring in the new year by wrapping up their season in Chicago.
Part of me feels worried that if they try and go on a little winning streak, so to speak, at the end of this year. Not only will they completely ruin their chances of getting a top 10 or even a top 15 draft pick, but it may entertain the possibility of someone within the Ford family saying, hey, let's bring back Jim Caldwell for another year. Let's give him another chance. And that would officially complete my nightmare and your nightmare scenario for how this team might look going into next year.
Yeah, that would sound crazy.
You're crazy! You're crazy! You're crazy! Are you crazy?
Yep. Million times worse is right. So, moving on to the second Lions topic. Jeff Moss and Justin Spiro find out on DetroitSportsRag.com and Twitter via Darko State News that Matthew Stafford's girlfriend, Kelly Stafford, posted a picture on Instagram of ticket sales to that game from a website. I don't recall which was it from, or was it like from StubHub or anything? But that's like copyright infringement. That's like copyright infringement.
Yeah, that's what you might say illegal in layman's terms.
Yep. And Spiro, let me find his Twitter feed here. There we go. Gonna share this podcast in the Detroit Sports Rag group. All right. There are a lot of tweets from Justin Spiro. Yeah. There we go. I got to the beginning of that. So, Spiro started tweeting out 3 days ago, on December 19th, Kelly Stafford spent money on tickets and has a right to sell those tickets. Using her married into status to sell them was not brilliant. The Staffords give a ton of money to charitable causes. The wealthy are not obligated to donate everything they want to be rid of. In honor of Kelly Stafford, I have decided to donate my extra Cotton Bowl tickets. Any suggestions for worthy charities in the Dallas area? Hey Dallas Charity. Hey at Dallas Charities. Do you have any suggestions for the donation of tickets to the Cotton Bowl? While Texas native Matthew Stafford is shaking down the public for ticket money, we will be giving free tickets away in his home state. And Dallas Charities replied to him, _Homefront, Operation Homefront, is one of our favorite hashtag nonprofits in hashtag Texas. And then he turned to them, Operation Homefront, hey at op_Homefront, do you have any of our cherished veterans in mind who would like to attend the Cotton Bowl for free? I will either donate tickets to the Cotton Bowl to Op Homefront or sell them and donate the entire proceeds to them. Their choice. I invite Kelly Stafford to join me in donating her extra tickets to Op Homefront. Let's help our wounded vets. Please let her know on Instagram. If Kelly Stafford does not donate her extra Lions tickets, the DSR will purchase them and donate them to underprivileged children in New Orleans. NO, for short. Yeah. And then Homefront replied, very generous, thank you. Can you email details to socialnet@operationhomefront.net so we can connect you with our team? Spiro said, very excited to work with Op Homefront on getting some wounded veterans to the Cotton Bowl. I wonder if third_goal wants the other extra too. The DSR is grateful for all the men and women who serve this country. We also believe all kids deserve the chance to experience an NFL game. Oh, that's very generous of Justin Spiro right there. Continuing on. If at @3rd_gold thinks his excellent foundation can benefit from 3 free tickets to the Cotton Bowl, I would be happy to help. _veterans. And then he went back to Kelly Stafford. Kelly Stafford's condescending quote, we do a lot for this community, unquote, comment was one of the worst parts of her handling of this. I still can't believe Kelly B. Hall Stafford went with the, quote, I hope you're happy, unquote, retort. What is she, 12 years old? Regardless of fees, Kelly Stafford was ultimately using her acquired through marriage status to sell tickets for more than face value. If I am a consumer and I have to pay more than a face value for a ticket, you are scalping them. The QB's wife scalping tickets looks very bad. And really it does. Kelly Stafford had a change of plans and could not recoup lost expenses without passing the fees on to the consumer. Scalp. ING. That's scalping. If I am buying from a scalper outside of Ford Field and he has to kick some dough to his friend who found me, it is still scalping, period. No one is suggesting Kelly Stafford is trying to get rich selling marked up football tickets, but she is asking for more money than she paid. No Pistons, Wings, Tigers, or Lions game today. I think you guys can let us being critical of the latest Kelly Stafford mishap go for a day. Charlie and the Santa Claus is a dumb brat and deserves coal for Christmas. I like to have @busted coverage on the DSR podcast to discuss best celebrity cleavage. The world needs more knuckle-dragging discourse. The busted coverage defending Kelly Stafford thing is the perfect example of dudes defending attractive women regardless of circumstance. I'll be live tweeting... Oh, that's Donald Trump. That's the Russ Cole, poverty, Trump, Joy Harrington, that's not it, Trump, Toll S. Show. Started tweeting about Trump, right? Donald Trump, one of the candidates for the next president of the United States of America. And then just 3 hours ago, he went back to Kelly Stafford. Can Kelly Stafford scalp her tickets to every game? Will Kelly Stafford even make it to halftime before the inevitable, quote, Matthew sure showed you haters, unquote, Instagram post, question mark. Let's see if we got any tweets and replies here. No, that's it. So, it's scalping is pretty much close to copyright infringement, in my view. And Kelly Stafford's like a crazy fangirl.
You're crazy! You're crazy! You're crazy! Are you crazy?
Just brings fans down and defends Matthew Stafford all the time. Defending Matthew Stafford's one thing, which is fine. Bringing fans down is another, which is not fine. And now she is scalping by either selling or promoting extra tickets to the Lions Saints game on ESPN Monday Night Football. I mean, Kelly Stafford continues to be out of her mind. Ed, I want your take on that. Ed? You there? Ed?
Still there, Taylor?
Yeah, I'm there.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we're still live.
Yeah. Like I said, long day is getting to me, unfortunately. Brief thoughts on the whole Kelly Stafford thing. However way you want to look at it, however you want to splice it, it is a form of scalping. Now, if she could have just, like I said, just donated to a charity without really so much the need to champion it in a very narcissistic way and self-centered way,
It's illegal.
fine. Exactly. But the fact that she had to do it like this and promote it on social media like she was doing the right thing, it was like, no. Far from doing the right thing you were doing. Maybe the intent was there, but the execution was terrible.
It was terrible. And Kelly Stafford is going to get caught.
Yep. She don't stop playing around.
Right.
She'll be in big trouble.
Yep. The police will search her and send her behind bars, and they'll probably bring Matthew Stafford down, just like a lot worse than most slappy Tigers fans say that how Kate Upton was bringing Justin Verlander down, or whatever the case may be. I actually don't see how this whole Kelly Stafford thing is like 10 times crazier.
Yeah, a bit unexpected, but when you're dealing with this whole, nothing should be unexpected now whenever we're talking about and dealing with the Lions. Simple as that.
Yep. Now, moving on to the third Lions topic or football topic or whichever. Moving to college football, Robert Kimdichie is declaring for the NFL draft. He was suspended just earlier on Monday for the Sugar Bowl because of him being arrested for him being charged with possession of marijuana use. Possession and use of marijuana, properly speaking. And it was still inevitable that he would be he would declare for the NFL draft, because he just wanted out of college right away, and he wanted to prove to the entire football world that he was good enough to be in the that he is good enough to be in the NFL. And even if the Lions don't get him, which may not be possible now because they won their game, and this may just be about the last Kimdichie draft update, mock draft update, or whatever you call it. For now,
yeah,
we could.
It seemed like the general consensus all year would be he would end up declaring. Now it was just after the fact. Now, you mentioned how he wanted to. He seemed either he wanted to get out of college as quickly as possible. I think his latest arrest, so to speak, and stemming from this whole incident with marijuana possession, could be an indicator of that. But we'll see how he does in the league. I still say the potential is still there for him, but the jury may have to be out on that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, glad he made the right decision. So with all that out of the way, we move on to hockey. The Red Wings lose to Vancouver in a 7-round 2-1 shootout, 4-3, and then they hold off the Calgary Flames 4-2. First off, in the Vancouver game, the Red Wings never had the lead, which means there was no chance of them blowing a 1-goal lead late in the third period. In other words, no drinking game in your words. The Canucks jumped out to a 1-0 lead, I think, in the first period, and then a 2-0 lead in the second period. But the Red Wings got on the board late in the second period from courtesy of Pavel Datsyuk. No, wait, that's not Datsyuk. Joachim Andersen with a tip-in. Datsyuk tied it in the third period. But the Canucks went back up ahead 3-2. Zetterberg tied it very late in the third period. The Red Wings had many chances to win it in overtime. They actually screwed up like they usually do. So the game went into a shootout after the Wings never gave the Canucks didn't give the Canucks many chances. The Canucks only recorded one shot on goal in overtime after leading in shots on goal 39-24. The shots on goal result was 40-28 through 65 minutes of ice time. So the game went into a 7-round shootout. Brad Richards, of all people, got the only shootout goal. Most of the other shooters never deked, but Dylan Larkin did. He just hit the post. He's got to be a little more accurate with his shot. He had a great deke. He had a really good deke. He showed him how deking is done in the shootout.
Yeah,
just watch.
That's a very, very valuable key.
Yep. But Jimmy Howard was in goal that game, and per usual, he sucked. He gave up 3 goals, the first and third, which were terrible. And then the game-winning shootout goal by Lyndon Bay, Howard really should have had. Some say it was a fast shot. Doesn't matter. It was straight up to Howard, right toward his pads. He should have stopped that.
Not another good night for Jimmy. Not a really very good night for him at all.
Yeah, he just stood there like the house by the side of the road and watched it go by, as Ernie Harwell used to say, and into the net. And the Red Wings, with that, had lost 3 straight, going into their next into the next home game against the Calgary Flames, who are also battling for a wild card spot in the Western Conference, as were the Canucks. The Flame, it was goalless after 1, and then the Flames jumped out early, 1-0, but the Wings struck back, but 3 times. One from Dylan Larkin, one from Brad Richards, and one from Gustav Nyquist. And the Wings led by 2 goals, not 1, 2 goals after 2 periods. And they managed to hold it. They managed to hold the Flames down by 2 until 3 minutes and change left in the second period. Left in the third period. And I was thinking, let's see if the Wings can blow a 2-goal lead late in regulation, just like that. But but the Red Wings didn't. They managed to score an empty net goal courtesy of Justin Advocator and won 4-2. I think the Red Wings improved their play by a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit. And if Jeff Blashill is talking processes, maybe he could refer to holding onto a lead in that fashion as a process, which still, as I state, is not a process. I mean, it's not that nerve-wracking at all. You have to play braver, tougher, and more mentally sound when you're trying to defend a 1-goal lead or a 2-goal lead. You gotta really ice that thing. No, don't just hold your ground. Bury it. The Wings got their win in regulation 4-2. They play the New Jersey Devils at home on Tuesday, and the Devils are also trying to fight for a wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. Last matchup was a blown 2-0 lead and a 3-2 overtime loss with Howard in goal. Mrazek played in the Calgary game. I'm going to look him up here. Look up the Red Wings Devils game at Joe Louis Arena here. Jimmy Coward is back in net. I don't know why Jeff Blashill is still starting Howard more times than usual when Mrazek is the number one goaltender.
It should be fairly clear and evident and obvious at this point who needs to be the starting goaltender moving on for the rest of the season at the very least.
Oh, stupid. Blashill? Worse than Brad Osmus. Even dumber. He doesn't know math.
I know it's...
And he makes bad decisions, and he doesn't even take as much control of the team of the Red Wings as Brad Osmus controls the Tigers. Bing, bing, bing. We win all three. This is a Red Wings team that's trying to clinch a 25th consecutive playoff appearance, and this is I understand this is Jeff Blashill's first year, but comparing to Brad Osmus's first year in 2014, Jeff Blashill's first year in the as an NHL head coach is worse. If I look at it this way, Jeff Blashill's decision making is just about as identically bad or horrible, I might say, as Brad Osmus, except it's a little bit worse. I'm not saying it's a whole lot worse, but it is just worse, meaning a little bit worse, somewhat. But I'm thinking it's a little bit worse. I don't want to sound too edgy, but I'm just trying to tell the truth. It's the Detroit sports truth, right? Yep. And this is the Detroit Sports Truth on Spreaker, episode 181. You're listening to me, Taylor the Gator Phillips, now a CMU official grad, and Ed Smith. So, Ed, there's no, like we already cleared up just now, there's no debate. Peter Mrazek should start against the Devils, not Jimmy Howard, not Jimmy Coward. Peter Mrazek. Jeff Blashill has no freaking clue whom to start, obviously. It there's no debate about it. Jeff Blashill's not even doing his statistical homework. He knows who the number one he at least should know who the number one goaltender is. And he doesn't, and probably he doesn't really care because he's an idiot. Oh man. I don't want to, like, Blashill is trying to coddle Jimmy Coward just like the rest of the Red Wings, the rest of the inept Red Wings organization is trying to promote Howard and not Mrazek. Just like 97 won the ticket in Southfield in the greater Detroit, in the Metro Detroit area, is promoting Howard more than Mrazek. For example, Pat Caputo likes Howard more than Mrazek. Oh my God!
Are you out of your mind?
That freaking town. Oh my God.
Where is your honor, dirtbag? You are an absolute disgrace.
This. How much longer until it stops?
Exactly.
The Wings need to trade Howard for somebody. And they should not trade Anthony Mantha. They should call him up and play him. They should call Anthony Ciu back up and use him more. And stop playing Glendening, Miller, and Anderson. Miller's out 6 weeks. Actually, 5 more weeks now. A total of 6 weeks, but 5 more. But go on.
Be a little bit less depressing that way now that you think about it.
Yeah. The Red Wings have trashed at least most of their continuity for now even more continuity that they have trashed this season after the last few seasons with Mike Babcock after they lost their cup in 2009. I'm telling you, it's just unfreaking believable.
Just not all around good look altogether.
Yeah. Yet the Red Wings fan base is still being a bunch of slapdicks, and we need not mention the disc jockey anymore. We know what a dunderhead he is, playing his dumb
The
music.
less we speak of that person, the better. Because it's very, very documented, and it's now catching heat, so to speak, with Moss on Twitter. So I think it suffices to say we can just let him handle that on that end. Excuse me.
Yep, exactly. Just Moss and Tim Campbell. Tim Campbell still has no respect for a damn soul on this earth. So that's all I can say on the Red Wings. Move on to the Pistons.
Left sideline, 3, and he answers.
Pistons have now won 2 in a row, including a quadruple overtime win, 147-144, Friday night at United Center in Chicago over the Bulls. How crazy was that game?
It practically invented a new level of insane on the crazy meter. It was past ridiculous and just flat out past astonishing. It was basically the equivalent, if you want to count in terms of quarters played, full 2 games. Literally 8 quarters were played at that game in Chicago. So props, by the way, to both teams because it takes a lot. There's a reason why you do strength and conditioning and cardiovascular workouts before the season, after season, sometimes during season, because it is no easy work. You can't have a properly trained body and whatnot if you don't have right condition. In situations, so that's why you do those types of drills and whatnot, and have strength and conditioning for situations that call for it. Sometimes, like i.e. playing a 4 overtime game. It was a back and forth affair, neck and neck. It seemed like when one team was getting ready to stretch out, pull away, another would make a big shot or make a big stop, or just keep it within striking range for their chances to win. It was clearly evident throughout that second half, especially in the third quarter, which seems like Chicago was getting was starting to seize control. Pistons made a bucket or two, stayed within it the whole time. Some craziness throughout the fourth quarter overtime periods. Jimmy Butler just went off and ended up finishing the game with 43 points, 9 rebounds. Reggie Jackson had a terrific game of his own, again scoring 30-plus points. Andre Drummond with 31 points and 20 rebounds, another 30-20 game for Drummond, and another noteworthy fact that he fouled out with some time left in the fourth overtime, but the thing is he had been playing with his fifth foul since about 5 minutes to go in the fourth, so he lasted, the fact that he lasted that long speaks not only to his discipline, but also some help with his coaches as well, knowing the foul trouble. But a lot of people were in foul trouble. Stanley Johnson as well, who fouled out almost immediately after Drummond. So it was quite a thing to see that happen, as well as the score itself. The way, like I said, the tide was turning back and forth between these two rival teams. It seemed like it could have gone to anybody in any given moment. Jimmy Butler trying to provide some late game heroics of his own, but in the end, the Pistons were able to just have enough, just enough to escape the Windy City with a victory. Much needed victory. It's the second time they've defeated the Central Division rivals this year. So at the end of the season, those wins are going to pile up, especially those against within your own division, in terms of determining the playoff order for your top 8 teams in the East. So, good win, needed win, and we would have to see how this carries them, especially since this will be, they didn't play another game after that. They got a well-deserved rest, which was quite timely, too, because I don't know if they would have been in any way, shape, or form been able to play another game, let's say, a night or 2 nights after that. So it's a very, very good thing in terms of timing that they got this rest before their game tomorrow night. Well, technically tonight, coming up against the Heat in Miami. But that was not the only noteworthy thing involving the Pistons this week. We mentioned, I don't know if we mentioned it on last week's show or not, but it appears we are getting much closer to the return of Brandon Jennings. Jennings, as you know, has been on an arduous recovery from his torn Achilles that he suffered, I believe, back in January. My memory might be off there, but it was, he suffered that injury right before the All-Star break, and the Pistons' playoff hopes essentially died right then and there for the 2014-2015 season. Now here we are in December, which we had heard all along. This might have been his projected timetable for a return. It could have come at a better opportune moment because you see how Reggie Jackson has been performing as of late. So it'll be quite interesting to see how, in terms of scoring production, how he and Jennings could work together in certain situations. And pairing, so to speak, when substitutions are utilized. I think we'll, for now, see Jennings start off the bench and then eventually ease his way into the starting lineup. And then after that, I think they would do whatever they can to keep Jackson and Jennings on the floor at the same time as much as possible, even if it means bumping Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to the bench. But, when Jennings is at his full form, he can be very, very trustworthy to be utilized in a productive manner to help you win games. And seeing how Reggie Jackson has gone off the deep end multiple times with his scoring tendencies, it'd be very helpful to have that element on the court, especially if you're trying to win some games in the second half of the season to build your case for a potential playoff spot. So it'll be great to finally see Jennings come back. Now it should be noted, there's been no official announcement or anything, but I believe Keith Langolis tweeted that Jennings will be traveling with the team this week for their games in Miami and Atlanta. It seems still that the timetable for him to have his official season debut will be next Tuesday night, the 29th, in Madison Square Garden in New York against the Knicks. But, should something come about last minute, I'm sure no doubt it will be posted and announced. But we're looking very close to seeing the return of Mr. Jennings, that's for sure.
Yep, indeed. 7 days away. That's a week. It is now December 22nd, 2015, 3 days away from Christmas. His return, as expected, will be December 29th against the Knicks. With those two consecutive wins, the Pistons have now rose up to 7th place in the Eastern Conference, a tie for 7th place with the Orlando Magic. The Pistons get the 7th seed as of today, and the Magic get the 8th seed. They're both 16 and 12. Pistons are in 4th place in the Central Division, yet 7th place in the conference. And they visit the Miami Heat Tuesday at 7:30. The Heat are 16 and 10. They lead the Southeast Division. And they are 2nd place in the East. They are coming off a win. They are not on a winning streak or losing streak at all. They just won their past previous game. So with that being said, this sounds a little surprising. The Pistons in 7th place,
I know,
improving
it's been
a bit.
Quite a while since we've had to hear that, huh?
Yeah. Now, speaking of basketball, we turn to college hoops and receive some minorly bad news for the number 1 Michigan State Spartans men's basketball team. They play Northeastern. They beat them on the road 78-58, and they lose Denzel Valentine for 2 to 3 weeks due to a knee injury, some type of knee injury, torn or pulled ligament in his knee. He underwent successful knee surgery and will be out only 2 to 3 weeks. It's a minor injury. It's not slight, but it's not severe.
Yeah, it's microscopic knee surgery that should keep him out for at least a little bit of time. So there's some good news for Spartan fans on that end, where it's not quite as serious as some would think, because when you hear the words knee surgery or knee injury, you think, uh-oh. But apparently it's so minor to a point where he's not going to miss too much time. But it's, not so quite good and convenient timing, because it's going to be right as conference season in the Big Ten starts, and that's where you would need your star players, especially if you're going to be doing some tough games on the road against conference teams. That's going to give you your best shot, their best shot rather, especially now since Spartans, of course, are the number 1 ranked team in the nation. Of course, due in large part to the production of Valentine, who, as I've stated before, not only is a perennial Big Ten Player of the Year front runner, but also potential candidate for the John Wooden Award for National Player of the Year, kind of like what Trey Burke did a few years back for the Wolverines. But for MSU, I think, even if they lose one game, so to speak, it's not going to be the end of the world. Like, they're not aiming for a perfect season. They're trying to aim for another Final Four. They're trying to get another national championship for Tom Izzo this year. So the way they've been playing, that's going to be the ultimate goal, not some squeaky clean perfect season. So even if it means losing a game or two, as long as you have your key players fully healthy and ready 100% come tournament time, it'll be a moot point in the end. How many losses you might have had in the regular season anyway.
Speaking of perfect seasons, there have been at least a couple times historically where like UConn, the UConn women's basketball team, and of course the men, and even the men's too, finished their seasons on like a couple of their seasons undefeated, and they won the national title. They finished their entire season undefeated. The Huskies.
Yeah, some would say it's not quite as good comparison to compare the talent pool or competition. Whether it be between what you see in men's college hoops or women's college hoops. I could see that one point, but on the other hand, it's not exactly easy to win every single game and do it year in and year out. Okay, the women's Huskies even beat an old-standing, long-time record from the UCLA men's team, coached by the legendary late John Wooden, winning 88 straight games. The Husky women, I believe they won at least 90, I believe, before finally losing a game. I think it might have been to Stanford during the regular season. So again, it's not quite so easy as one may seem. It takes a combination of of these precise factors. Great coaching, number one. Great talent, number two. And a great chemistry between teammates, number three. Those important factors are the key, in my view, in terms of sustaining a very, very long-lasting winning streak.
Yep. That's the truth right there. So with all basketball out of the way, pro and college, we move on to baseball.
That one is long gone.
Just one last little note. The Tigers have traded Kyle Lobstein, who they designated for assignment earlier, to the Pittsburgh Pirates for cash considerations. Also, the Indians have signed former Tiger relief pitcher Tom Gorzolani. So,
Just a quick, a bit minor footnote on that. Like, I believe this might make you happy, because I think you stated your displeasure of Mr. Lobstein. Is that correct, or might have been someone else? I'm pretty sure it was Lobstein you've been in unfavor of the past few episodes we've done. Is that correct?
not really. I think it was Farmer. No, yeah, it was Buck Farmer.
Okay, because I know it was one of those two.
Yep. And it's a shame for Lobstein. I thought he was better than Farmer. I thought Daniel Norris was better than Farmer this past year.
Oh, no question about Norris.
Yeah. Yeah, Daniel Norris will be a relief pitcher.
Well, until we ease him back into the starting rotation, that's all. I would say, sometime probably before the All-Star break next year, you would see Norris full-time back in the starting rotation. They're just trying to being as safe as possible as he fully recovers from his thyroid cancer issue.
Yep. I'm sure he will. So that's about it. We will.
I guess one more minor thing we got to mention that they did sign former Cleveland Indians infielder Mike Aviles.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
To a deal.
1 year deal.
1 year deal. Now I don't know this means in terms of them trying to look for that corner outfielder that we've been pining for, that can provide good left-handed, good pop on the left-handed side of the bat. But it should be noted that Vilas did play about 30-plus games in the outfield with Cleveland last year, so maybe that was a factor, so to speak, in terms of the Tigers trying in this signing. That's something you got to look out for, but it'd be quite a bit disappointing to see them start out what they did with the Jordan Zimmerman signing, and then kind of, in a way, fizzle out without planning any major signing to fix a needed, fix a position of need. So
you just said disappointing if the Tigers got signed Jordan Zimmerman.
No. Since getting Zimmerman.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Zimmerman signing was no problem with that. Great signing. Just after that, just a little bit more to be desired. Especially knowing when you have people like Cespedes and Alex Gordon still out in the market that haven't signed deals yet.
Yeah, but about the Mike Vilas move, they did sign him to a 1-year contract. Thanks for putting it out there. I almost forgot about that. What do you think of the Mike Vilas acquisition?
Like I said, at least gives them some depth, so to speak, in the infield. He knows his way around the infield, and like I said, don't. It's not out of the realm of possibility they might sign him to do some work in the outfield as well. Do a platoon spot in left with Cameron Maben and Tyler Davis. No, excuse me, not Tyler Davis. Tyler Collins. Speaking of Roger Davis, Tyler Collins and Cameron Maben as well. Which, like I said, wouldn't be too bad, but still, you would need someone to perfectly complement what J.D. Martinez is already doing in right field. And though I like Anthony Gose, with his speed and everything, he's not going to really get on base that too many times the way his hitting is currently standing. So you would have preferred to get someone with a lot more pop in his bat in left field. And like I said, Vilas wasn't quite so good offensive production in the second half of last year, so that will be a worrisome thing to look at if he continues that downward slide this upcoming season, but that has remained yet to be seen.
Yep. So, with that cleared out of the way, I think we've covered everything now, haven't we?
Yeah, and just one more minor thing before we sign off. Due to the upcoming holiday schedule for this week and next week, instead of the usual Thursday episodes of our podcast, The Detroit Sports Truth, we'll be airing on Wednesday night for both this week and next week to better comprehend with the holiday schedules for both Christmas Eve, Christmas, and the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. So expect our latest episode for this Wednesday night, not Thursday night, but Wednesday night, and the same scenario to occur next week, again on a Wednesday.
Yep, Wednesday at midnight, that is. Yeah, that is this week and next week, Wednesday at midnight, and then after that, back to Thursday at midnight.
Yep, kick off the new year in style.
Yep. So, with that announcement gotten out of the way, that wraps up episode 181 on the Detroit Sports Truth. Ed, thanks so much for being on here. We want to wish everybody
welcome, Taylor.
Yep. Yeah. We'll be back Wednesday. Yeah. Yep. But yep. For Ed Smith, I'm Taylor Phillips. Well, we will talk to you Wednesday at midnight.
Have a good night, everybody. And as I see the Star Wars movie tomorrow, may the Force be with you.
Yep. Good night, Ed. So, if there's anything you fans want more or less of on our podcast, please let us know. And for Ed Smith, I'm Taylor Phillips. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
yes, it is.